Hello. I want to apologize for my slides being in Spanish. You can always translate them. It's not hard, and you always have, and you're going to have also my speech about this presentation. So this is the first one I told you about. That we're going to talk about the detecting of a trap of oil or accumulation of oil and gas. Also, then we're going to go, the next one is going to be the confirmation of those reserves through drilling of wells and having some logs, taking some samples, that process to confirm that what we saw here is really there. Then we'll go to exploitation, which is where I'm going to be more concentrated. And also the commercialization of the products also, and also the refining of the oil and gas, I mean the oil. We're going to talk about how this transformation of the Earth took place over 4,500 million years. I think that's what the specialists say. And how the traps of oil and gas were formed. And I also want to compare this to a pressure cooker, where we put where trees and animals, organic things, were being cooked over those 4,500 million, and that's where the generation of hydrocarbon took place. Okay, so as it was taking place, the pressure and temperature were getting higher and higher, and they got to a point where the hydrocarbon were thrown away from the rock. Fortunately, there were some other rocks with porosity and permeability where these products, hydrocarbons, were retained, and that's what we call the stock rock. Okay, but to maintain, to be there, they had to be also a sealing rock. So the stock rock and the sealing rock make possible for the hydrocarbon to accumulate, and that's how a trap is created. So 5 stages and geological process, have to be involved. There's got to be the pressure cooker or the mother rock, the generation, the migration, the stock rock, the trap, and the seal rock. Those 5 things have to be involved for the accumulation to exist. And that's where we find the hydrocarbons in the stock rocks, where porosity and permeability are present, and the seal, like we said before. So these traps of oil and gas can be structural, which are geological structures, and caused by faults, and also the stratigraphic traps, which are the consequence, the results, I would say, the results of changes in permeability across the rock, and that's where the stratus, that's how we form the stratigraphic trap, the stratigraphic trap. So here we see how the mother rock is, that's where the cooking took place, how they migrate to a trap where a seal is, and with permeability and porosity, because the oil is in the porous of the rock. That's where we find the oil. And this is the stratigraphic fault that I mentioned with the seal, and also the oil can be trapped also in between a sealing fault and a sealing rock. That's how you find this kind of traps. So the oil, what's the oil? Oil is a flammable liquid, a mixture of hydrocarbons with some impurities also, and that you can find in depending on the pressure and temperatures. We're going to see that in the next presentation. How the characterization of the reservoirs are depending on what kind of fluids they have. So there is a mention here for Colonel Drake in 1859, Pennsylvania, where they decided to drill a well after they saw some evidence of hydrocarbons in surface. So they started drilling a well, and when they were around 30 feet, they stopped the drilling and went home to come back next day. When they came back, they saw hydrocarbons in above the fluids. Above the water, they saw a layer of hydrocarbons. That's how they found oil. And they drilled some other wells, and so they were producing oil after that. The density of this oil is lighter than water. There are some heavy oils that can get close to the weight of the water, but mostly the light oils, they are much lighter than, not much, but lighter than water. The smell is aromatic, but depending on the impurities, it could have strong smells, like when you have H2S, sulfur is a strong smell. The color, everybody thinks the oil is black, but the light oils and the volatile oils are green and some yellow. The chemical composition is around 85% carbon and 15% hydrogen. Of course, we're going to find some impurities like sulfur and salts and oxygen, nitrogen. All that can be found in the mixture of hydrocarbons. So when we decide to go on an exploration operation, we have to, the best result for the exploration stage is that we find a trap. We get a structure, a stuck rock and a sealed rock. Also, the accumulation has to be important so that we can go on the decision of drilling wells. And the preservation of the stocked oil should be protected, right? So the geologists are the first important discipline that are involved in the finding of traps, of finding traps traditionally, through breaking through in surface and looking at the rivers and the rocks, vegetation, they can decide that we have a trap. And normally, when they do these deep studies, they can tell us the conditions, the possible condition of those traps, and that help us to make the decision if we're going to clear the well or not. So when we don't have, when the land is not very, when we don't have shows of breaking through in the surface, where we have the geophysicist method, which is we use equipment like the gravimeter to measure the difference in gravity in the different zones present, and also the seismic studies. That's how we do through seismic, which they send a wave to the bottom of the, depending on of the study, you see how deep you want to go in there. So you send a wave, and then you get a response from each one of the stratus present, and then you can interpret that there is the presence of a trap. And also they have good software to make sure the interpretation is reliable, and that's how they do it. They send a wave and they get a response, and this is an output. This is an output of the results from the seismic study, where they can see faults and they can see possible traps present in the formations. And that's how they do it. Like I said, I'm sorry for the Spanish on my slides, and also it's like I said before, it's not production. It's something I know, and some things I found, information I found that maybe in the future we're going to have somebody. I know somebody that can come and help us with more information about this part of the business. Next time we're gonna get the other presentation, next presentation soon. Okay. Thank you for seeing everything, and I hope to see you soon around here, around the channel. Thank you very much.